Just a few days ago, Crowsworn finally opened its Kickstarter and subsequently gave us a new trailer with lots of new bits of footage for us to play detective with. And fans of the game used that as an opportunity to practice their speedrun strats for the Kickstarter percent category. Something that didn't get too much attention was that the press kit on their website was also updated with higher res footage of gameplay shown in previous tweets in tandem with a couple minutes of never-before-seen content. And what immediately caught my eye was this extended preview of this boss character right here, named Syr Garen. And he does not look like a pushover. I just love analyzing the hell out of boss fights, taking 2 minutes of footage and just dissecting everything I can about it and seeing how deep I can go. It's always sort of been my style with videos like these, and that's what feels right for this guy here. So there's probably going to be a lot of freeze framing and footage slowing throughout the video just so we can really take the closest look that we possibly can at this fight. Additionally, we have a live stream interview scheduled this Sunday, where I'm going to be sitting down with Leth, Alex, and special guest Concerned Ape, and we're all going to be running each other off the road in a fully functional dev build of Crowcart. I'll be asking them some questions about the game and their process behind making it, and we'll even be taking some of your own questions as well. It's going to be absolute chaos, and I hope you can find the time to stop by. Alright, let's get started. Right off the bat, the first thing I feel drawn to point out is the amount of HP and health restoratives Dr. Sworn has here. And yes, those are health restoratives. We've got 7 notches of HP and 2 opportunities to restore health, it looks like. And there were instances in earlier gameplay where we've noticed a minimum of 5 notches with only 1 health restorative available. I'm going to go on ahead and assume these are the stats you will just end up starting the game with. So there's limited indication of just how far into the game Syr Garen is, but there's a pretty low likelihood that he's at the beginning. He does have a faster and more varied moveset, and his ability to counter the player jumping over him with higher attacks further lend evidence to Syr Garen not being a beginner boss, and we're probably going to find this guy once we've had more than enough time to get used to what the game expects from us combat-wise, how to punish certain attacks, and so on and so forth. We've also got a couple movement abilities to work with. We see a dash, an aerial dash, and a couple of Corvian abilities we're fighting with, which all point to this boss being found after you've already played through a good deal of the game. Syr Garen has an interesting character design for the setting. He's wrapped up almost entirely in bandages, as though he was once dead but reanimated. He wields a broken lance and wooden slab as a makeshift shield. The lore of this boss is still yet to be expanded on, but you could make an educated guess that this boss might be a fallen sentinel sort of character, or possibly a reanimated corpse of a knight that used to guard the spires we're fighting in. The red hood he's wearing could even have some lore significance that we just haven't been told yet. It's really hard to tell if this is just an unlucky knight that got chosen and corrupted by Firandal's plague, or perhaps a much more significant character that actually has reasons for fighting you. In fact, an extremely early tweet from Alex, one of MR's developers, actually lists his full title as Syr Garen the Burned. So maybe these bandages are the result of an injury involving skin burns or something of that nature. Syr Garen has multiple types of attacks, including a cyclone slash maneuver, a forward thrust, and a 1-2 hit combo with his lance that swings just a bit over his head as an indication that aerial attacks might require a little bit of precision to land without sacrificing health. He does have a giant wooden shield, but only seems to actually use it when rushing forward with an attack. If he isn't preoccupied with charging a move, then both gunfire and melee attacks seem to have no problem landing consistently. His combo will likely end with him leaping up in the air and slamming the ground, and it also looks like this is a maneuver he can do by itself without needing the 3-hit combo to lead up to it. which could make this particular attack a little difficult to predict. The player jumps over the shockwave caused by this attack, meaning it can hurt you, even if we don't really see footage of the player actually taking damage from it. It also looks like the forward lunge can have a precursor attack, which is this barrage of stabs that he will then use to lead into a final forward lunge. And if you're a Devil May Cry fanatic, you're going to instantly recognize this move as the million stab attack, one of the staple abilities of the franchise. Once you've aggravated him enough, he will leap off screen and a short platforming sequence will begin, where the player has to dodge a rain of lances. You can barely see the outlines of their position before they drop, giving you a good time window to move appropriately. This attack is done twice through the footage, and the lance drop pattern seems to be different each time. This means the drop patterns could just be randomized, or perhaps this is a way of indicating boss HP, and when Syr Garen is almost defeated, these lance sequences will become longer and harder to dodge. On top of his moveset, contact damage also seems to take away a single notch of your health. One attack actually deals 2 notches of damage, and I'm not completely sure if this is intentional or will be adjusted in the future, considering it's the only attack in the fight that deals this amount of damage. But this does lead me to believe that lots of foes and encounters will have abilities that are able to take away 2 and perhaps even more than 2 notches of health in a single attack. The healing in the fight is done very quickly and heals you for 3 notches of health, which sort of feels like the game's way of preparing you to deal with potential burst damage, where one attack can just magically remove half of your entire HP. Once the player is down to 1 notch of health, it looks like a portion of the second notch is very faintly highlighted, almost as though this is health you can regenerate if you're left alone and don't take damage for a few seconds. I'm not completely sure on that. I'm 0% sure, actually. That may be the effect of a rune or like another power at play we just don't see here. Or it may not mean anything at all, and my eyes are just fucked because I constantly stare at screens all the time. Who knows? It looks like any use of Corvian magic will deplete this bar here, and then you can replenish it through combat. Striking enemies siphons out this red essence that seems to refill your magic meter, and I would also imagine there are constellations and other abilities you can find that increase the limit of your Corvian gauge, the amount of essence you can siphon from enemies per hit, and other perks related to Corvian magic. The use of this particular Corvian power caught my eye here, where the player fires a bullet infused with Corvian magic while not having any bullets available to use. So I wonder what the conditions have to be to use this power, because it doesn't seem like the player needs any bullets in their pistols left to actually fire it. Again, if you've ever played Devil May Cry, it'll be hard not to compare this ability to the charged shot that characters like Nero and Dante could always take advantage of by holding down the action button after a shot and then releasing it once it was ready for much higher damage. There is other footage that was released in tandem with the Kickstarter trailer, but I really just love analyzing boss fights and their movesets and whatnot. And when I saw the extended preview of this boss fight here, I couldn't help myself. So I'm fully prepared to make other videos in the future regarding more speculative elements like lore and navigation, but I wanted to really indulge myself this one time and just tear open this fight and see how much I could dissect from it. You can follow the devs on Twitter, and you can also throw some money at their Kickstarter if you're itching to support another Hollowborn May Cry type of game. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be live this Sunday with Crowcart, and we'll be taking some of your questions in the process. I'll see you there.